like 1 minute I'm a kid watching cartoons, the next minute I'm paying rent to stay alive on a floating rock. Who designed this system? I mean, work so I can afford food, so I can have energy to go back to work. It's a scam.
The problem with so many of these TikTokers is that, or any influencer, is that they're living above their means. And something that my grandma taught me as a kid that I'll never forget is she said,
"Oh, $945 a month for a 1-bedroom. Y'all can see 2019. Lease was ending in 2020. 2020. You want to know what that apartment goes for now?
Okay, so I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed that there's a huge influx of broke-ass influencers on TikTok that are begging for money, and some of them even being involved in scams. Yesterday, I saw this TikToker who had almost 1 million subscribers or followers, and she was involved in a GoFundMe scam, and the GoFundMe got shut down. And it's just like, the problem with so many of these TikTokers is that, or any influencer, is that they're living above their means. And something that my grandma taught me as a kid that I'll never forget.
Before he even gets into that, that is the truth. That doesn't have to do with just TikTokers and content creators. That has to do with 9-to-5ers. That has to do with people who work 2 jobs. That has to do with people who own their own business, entrepreneurs, living above their means. This is why it's so important for you to have systems that are automatically set up in order for you to manage your money before the money even starts rolling in. By the way, this is what the top companies in the country do. They start predicting what they're going to make throughout the year coming up, and they already know how they're going to diversify that. Let's continue.
Forget is she said, if you cannot buy something with cash in hand right now, then you cannot afford it. Or if the money isn't in your checking account right now, the full amount, you can't afford it. And it's like, I've seen so many scandals over the years of influencers, from YouTube.
And so I want to backtrack a little bit because he is saying something that can help a lot of people. If you can't pay it for cash, don't get it at all. But I don't think that's going to stand too long because you can buy something very expensive and then zero your account out, or emergencies can happen. Even though you could afford it twice, that thing is a liability. I think it's more important to look at, is this thing going to help me make more money, capitalize on my time, and save me time so I can make more money? Or is it going to allow me to keep forking out money every month, right? Like, for example, me and one of my coworkers were just talking about the Apple Watch versus another band fitness accessory that you can wear on your wrist. I forgot what it's called. But basically, it's very cheap. But then once you start to put it on and you have the app, the fitness app on your phone, you got to pay a monthly subscription. No, they lost me at that. No, who is paying a monthly fee to know their heart rate? I'm out. I'm gone. You cannot sell me on something that I'm going to pay on a monthly price. And there's multiple options out here that allow me to pay it once and be done. And that's number one. But like I said, when we look at, okay, can you buy this thing out cash or not? I think it's more important to know if you make, let's say, $1,000 a month from your job or from your business, then how are you going to divide that $1,000 into a savings, into investing, into reinvesting back into the business, into operational costs, and then some of your fun money, money that you can just blow. How are you going to divide that up before you even get the money? It's important for you to know that. It's important for everybody to know that. That already dictates what you can buy and what you can't buy. And the second that you get tempted to buy something that's above your living standards, you're just motivated to make more money. And when you make more money and you can buy that thing because it's divided into multiple ways, then guess what? Every other account, your fun account, your reinvestment account, your operational account, your savings account, your fun account, it all increases because you wanted that one specific account to increase so you can get that item or that service or that experience. It's called dollar cost averaging.
Or any, community that have gone broke because they start to live above their means. And you should never live above your means in life if you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Let's say an influencer makes $40,000 in, their first big payout month, right? And it starts to become consistent. Okay, great. But then they decide they want to go rent or lease an LA mansion for $15,000 a month, right? And just because they were making $40,000 a month consistently for a while, it doesn't mean that money is going to stay. Because life works in ebb and flows. Life works in patterns. It has ups and downs, and ups and downs. So learn firsthand from these influencers. Definitely do not live above your means. Have a goal.
But also learn from everyday people working 9 to 5s, because people like this and that work 9 to 5s think the money is always going to be there too. It's even worse with the 9 to 5. Like, an entrepreneur knows if they don't do the work, if they don't create the service, if they don't create the value, then they're not going to continuously get paid. That's a fact. What's also a fact is when you work a 9 to 5, you keep getting them paychecks, right? Until they have unexpected layoffs. And then what do? You get what I'm saying here? Is that making sense?
So can we stop telling people that they're living above their means when they start complaining about the cost of things? Because when I got this apartment right here, clearly you can see it's a starter apartment. It's not anything luxury. Clearly not anything luxury. Not luxury at all. Look at the blinds. It's not luxury. Look at the closet. It's not luxury. You know what I paid? What does that say?
Before he even gets into how much he paid, I think the word luxury is used a lot marketing wise with these new apartment complexes. I will say that a lot of apartments aren't luxury, but that's a nice place. I lived in a worse place for my first apartment, so I would call that luxury. Is it the best of the best? Heck no. I've been in better places. But I will say that does look luxury to me. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section.
Oh, $945 a month for a 1-bedroom. Y'all can see 2019. Lease was ending in 2020. 2020. You want to know what that apartment goes for now? I don't know what it goes for now. Oh, almost $2,000. Oh, why don't we just follow the advice of a boomer? Why don't we just purchase a home? Even the small rinky-dink homes like this are going for $323,000.
Well, home ownership really isn't something that a lot of people consider a financial decision in order for them to capitalize off of financially. I mean, they say it, but it doesn't like the actions aren't lining up with their words. Like, people say, oh yeah, if you own a home, then you can pay it off and, equity and whatnot. But it's like, is that what most people really do with their home? Most of the time, they're paying more money towards the home than not. And they're paying more money to the home, and they're not capitalizing off of what they could make from the home if they were to rent it out. But that's just me. I'm an apartment type of person. I don't want to cut the grass. I don't want to do none of that. It ain't because I'm lazy, but it's because I'm lazy. Lazy with the right things. I'd rather be lazy cutting the grass and be a diligent worker with creating multiple streams of revenue. Therefore, the grass is a waste of time for me to do. You know what I'm saying? But if I got to cut the grass to get to a certain spot so I can do that, I definitely will. Let me be clear before y'all start to tear me up in the comment section like some of y'all be doing sometimes. But hey, we're not here to talk about that. I cut 3 yards every single week last summer and beyond. But last summer was my last summer. I put my foot down on this one. All right? I put my foot down on this one. I told myself I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm going to be earning income passively, but I got to put in the work. So when the season of grass cutting was up and it got cold in Virginia, I started to go crazy on YouTube. And guess what? We started to make money on YouTube. And so now, because it's summer's coming up and everything, everybody started cutting grass. I sold the grass business, the landscaping business, to be more professional about it. But let's continue and hear what this guy has to say.
The gag is, as early as 2014, this home sold for $48,000.
Wow.
$48,000. And if you look in 2012, it sold for $30,000.
I am surprised it was that cheap. That is crazy. Now, that does make me mad. That does make me mad. But if we're looking at it, it's 2021, it's 2026 now, 5 years down the line, ain't no complaining about it, bro. Might as well move on, pay the bag, or figure out a way for you to make more money so you ain't got to complain.
$39,000. They have the audacity to be charging $323,000. I'm not even going to talk about gas prices. I didn't even talk about groceries. These are literally the essentials. Just living. The living expenses are astronomical, but for some reason, y'all keep telling people that they're just living above their means.
Yeah, so what I will say is, since he's looking at housing, one of the things, again, that I say multiple times, but who listens to me? I'm just Jay, right? So let's take it back a couple videos ago. I said if you split the rent or split the mortgage or the rent, you save hundreds, if not at least $1,000 a month. But nobody wants to split rent. Nobody wants to have a roommate. You have a family. Okay, cool. Bring a family member in there. You know what I'm saying? Split something. Split something. I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. Okay? For the past 3 years, I moved out my parents' house at I think the age of 23 or 24, one of those two. But anyways, times got hard. Guess what? 3.5 years down the line, I decided to move back in with family and split rent. It sucked. Now, if it's one thing that'll make a grown man tear up, is losing what you worked so hard for. I remember being in that U-Haul on my way home just 1.5 years ago, tearing up a little bit on my 1.5 hour drive back home. Like, man, where did I go wrong, man? Man, I'm broke, man. I ain't got no money rolling in. And when it does come in, it's quicker than when it came. Where did I go wrong? Reanalyzed my life, figured out where I was spending the most money at, figured out what my new trajectory, what my new plan was going to be, and went back in the 9-to-5 workforce, went back into entrepreneurship 10 times harder, because having something taken away from you when you did have it good is worse than not having it at all and not reaching it. Having something taken away from you that you once had is worse than you really wanting something and never getting it. And that's a fact. I know some of y'all will agree with me on that one. That was one of the things that broke me down. I'm like, bro, this isn't supposed to happen. I'm a failure, but I wasn't a failure, and I'm still not a failure. You know why? Because if you are not getting the results that you want out of life, you have to recalibrate. You have to analyze. And so now I look at my finances every single week. If I'm off $100, what do we got to do? Let's cut the costs. Before I even made this video, I cut the cost $150 off of what it cost me in order for me to run this YouTube channel. And we still gonna put out quality content. But I'm making sure I'm using them finances wisely. Get a roommate.
That reminds you, this apartment is almost $2,000 and it's not a luxury apartment. Y'all want to hop into the comment section talking about, oh, well, I found an apartment that was $700 a month. Yeah, and as soon as you click on the reviews, you see roach infestation, rodent infestation, guns, shooting, weed, all of these.
Yeah, I can't do the roaches, bro. And I can't do the crime rate either. I'm good. I thought, when I first moved out, I thought, yeah, I can deal with that. I can thug it out, bro. But after being in a living environment where it's clean, you got good people around you, a lower crime rate, because crime is everywhere, and it can happen anywhere. But, I'm like, bro, I can't go back. I just can't. I used to, me and my girl used to make jokes back at the old apartment we used to stay at. It was definitely more in the city, and we moved more into a suburban area with our last apartment, and they took care of the grass in the whole community and everything. That was one of the things that we noticed as we were picking apartments. We were like, yo, even the grass looked different over here. Even the grass looked different. And we would be like, yeah, we know we're in a good area. The grass is good. No dents in people's cars, no street parking. You get your parking lot. You ain't got to park in the city. You don't see no rats running across the street and stuff. You don't see no roaches in the apartment. You don't have no loud blasting music. And bro, I'm good on being around them type of people. I'm straight. If you're that type of person, you can take offense to it if you want to. I'm just telling you, that ain't for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. And I went to college in that type of environment. I'm cool with people like that. But for me to be as productive as I am now and then have the career that I have now, I'm good. I'm good.
Let's talk about those of us who were actually raised. You felt like you were kind of rich. You had a McMansion, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms. You went on vacations to other countries. Your parents had nice cars. My dad drove BMWs. My mom had Big cars, Denali, Land Cruiser, best car ever. Stand by that. You kind of want it for nothing. You got the new iPod every Christmas. Very privileged, right?
Hold on. Did she just say a Denali was the best car ever? Isn't that the same car that we review when we watch people who regret getting a certain car and they regret getting the GMC Denali because it has so many issues with the engine? Like they're breaking down at 11,000 miles. The GMC doesn't make good cars, in my opinion, seeing off of how people review them and the problems that they have. But that's for another day.
But now you're like, oh, I went to college. I actually went to grad school and I'm living in my mom's house and I'm drowning in rent and see no future for a down payment on anything, especially if you're single. I have a boyfriend, but again, I lived that single life for a long time where I was like, there's no hope. Maybe you're even like me. And the only hope of being able to afford a rent is a partner.
But that should be the way that most people make it happen as well. Therefore, you're allowing yourself to have more freedom with the money that you're already earning. You can put that into the stock market. You can own your own real estate and have passive income flow through. Why not live that way? Why not live that way? I don't want to move out again without a roommate. I'm gonna be making thousands a month. And you know what? That sounded kind of crazy because everybody that works a job probably makes thousands of dollars a month. But $20,000 a month. Let's just say that $20,000 a month. Okay. I plan to be making that much, but I'ma still want to have a roommate, not because I'm trying to be cheap, but because I'm trying to be cheap. Ain't nothing wrong with being cheap. If I could put more money in the stock, borrow against my brokerage account, borrow what I have, make passive income and beat the interest rates and not have to work for every dollar that I own. I'd rather take that sacrifice, especially when I don't have no kids right now. Especially if you ain't got no kids. What's the excuse?
That's kind of sad, right? I'm going to hold your hand, truly, and make you feel a little bit better about your situation. Because guess what? That house my parents bought on Long Island, come to find out, Grampy paid for most of the down payment. Now, they weren't mooching. They were taking in my great-grandmother, but still. My uncle, like by marriage, who very successful, my aunt, super successful. His OBGYN father paid for much of his down payment. The grandparents, they're probably all dead. That generation did a lot of help for our parents. Now, my parents obviously helped me. I get to live rent-free. Even
Not for my people. Most people, I don't think, come from that type of background. My family definitely didn't come from that type of background. I'm not gonna get into it, but they definitely didn't come from that background. They sometimes didn't know what they were gonna eat the next night. You know what I'm saying? Or that same night. That was how my dad was like. That's how his lifestyle was when he grew up. My mom, they had a house full of children. She got 9 siblings. You know what I'm saying? But they still made it happen. They still survived. They still had a greater outcome with their work ethic and what they did to invest into themselves. And I believe it's my responsibility to go even further than that. Not because I feel like I need to be better than someone, but because why not? Isn't that the point of generations coming after and after? Why would I get worse after they came from worse than where I came from? And they gave me a pedestal to come from where they wanted me to come from. And then I'm going to do that for my own children in the future. But I don't believe that most people, I don't care what kind of color you are at all. The color doesn't justify what struggles or strengths you had. She went through that, but I can't speak for her. I mean, I can't say that for myself. She's speaking for herself. Where did your parents or you come from financially? Did you guys live, with a silver platter, or was it more of the struggle?
No, we kind of live like roommates. But they helped that generation a lot. That generation didn't have student loan debt like we all do. They didn't need advanced degrees unless their job specifically required it. And what else did they do? Live far beyond their means. Again, I thought we had it good. I didn't realize we were constantly in credit card debt.
But the thing is, even if they didn't have to get into college debt, if they live far beyond their means, that's exactly what people are doing now. They're living far beyond their means and they're suffering. All right. Yeah, maybe they had less debt, but the grandparents, the people who didn't go to college, the people that didn't have as much debt, they were still throwing away their money. Their money wasn't making money. And even if it was, okay, cool. That doesn't give us the excuse as to why we should throw away our money. Maybe times are financially tougher now. And if they are, then we have to adjust. I was reading a part of a book, I think it's called The Psychology of Money. And it was a chapter where it was talking about how if you look at a dog might be house trained, but it still has the same instincts as its ancestors, maybe howling or barking at an object in its territory or whatnot, getting really possessive. And when we look at humans, we don't come from that. We don't it hasn't been enough time and resources over our history, even with our ancestors, as to where we can just naturally adapt to how we spend money or how we invest money. Like our ancestors didn't have to battle with being marketed to by watching TV. Like TV is still new technology in the world of marketing. You know what I'm saying? There's been more years in this earth. There's been more years in this earth without TV than there has been with TV. So advertising and technology changes as we progress. And so that natural instinct for dogs to be barking and being territorial, the financial part of us to have financial, not wisdom, but financial discipline with different tactics that convince us to use our money in an unwise way, that is not something that's been carried on like a trait, maybe like brushing your teeth or something. Like it's an easier habit for you to brush your teeth before it is for you to figure out, oh man, this is a sales tactic right here. Let me go ahead and, break up my money like this, save my money. I'm not going to spend it this way. Forget this ad, or this ad is popping up on a website now because I clicked this link. Like our ancestors didn't have to do that. Nobody gave us advice like that. We had to learn the hard way, and we're still learning, but that doesn't give us the excuse. I don't believe it gives us the excuse.
That those cars were long loans. No, I did not know that. I did not know that we were in debt. Our parents lived beyond their means. A lot of them do not have significant retirement. My dad didn't have a 401k until my parents divorced 10 years ago.
Yeah, and another thing is retirement accounts didn't even exist, I believe, until the 70s. Don't quote me on that, but I read that in the book as well recently. Most people back then, in the early 1900s, they worked until death. They worked for their whole lives. Retirement accounts weren't made until after the 1950s. And if I want to be more precise, I would say the 1970s. So again, this is something that couldn't have been carried on for too long in a way for us to automatically, just be mentally adjusted to having better financial wisdom and discipline, because there are new things, new programs that are being built that, yeah, now you will teach your children about it. But if people were born in the 1920s and 30s and 40s and stuff, they didn't have retirement accounts and anything. So how are they going to teach their kids that, or the next generation that?
And he was nice and didn't take my mom's, which he could have. No, do not compare yourselves to their parents. I am aware of the statistic that specifically men are doing worse than their fathers in our generation. I totally understand that. But just know, I'm going to sound like just a boomer hater, but the boomers, they started 50 yards ahead of us in the 100-yard dash. They did not have this. Now, was it all great? Probably no. And the one thing that did humble them was 2008. But you are not a failure because you are not buying a house when you're at the same age that your dad bought his house. You are not a failure for wanting to push back having kids until you know you can afford them. That is a
that's a big one that I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but I'm like, bro, I don't plan on having kids anytime soon. Now, financial wise, I want my net worth to be over $1 million before I have my first kid. It just is what it is. I don't believe we live in an economy where, a kid is affordable. Kids are expensive, bro. They are expensive. That's why I'm taking care of my health and stuff so I can live a more healthy life as I get older and whatnot and decide to have kids one day. But it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not it's not what it was. And I ain't even got to be, living back then to know that. I'm 28 years old, bro. I was born in 1998. I can tell from how my parents have conversations about when they were my age and they had their first child, which was me, versus like where we are now. Most people who are around my age, in their mid 20s or even close to late 20s, they're living with roommates or with family, or if they're living on their own, that's great. But like, I want to see that balance sheet. I want to see how much money they're making and how much is contributed towards assets and liabilities. That's all I care about.
The concept of having to go to work to gain money, to pay to live on an earth I didn't ask to be on, yeah, it really feels like a subscription service I never signed up for. Yeah, and the trial period ended way too fast. Like, 1 minute I'm a kid watching cartoons, the next minute I'm paying rent to stay alive on a floating rock. Who designed this system? I mean, work so I can afford food, so I can have energy to go back to work. It's a scam. Okay, and the worst part is if you complain, people hit you with, that's life. Yeah, well, life needs an update then, okay, because this version is glitchy, okay?
Not really, bro. There's so many resources that are out here for you to earn extra money, for you to earn money without trading your time for it, which is one of the reasons why I have the Cash Flow Creators Club. And this is literally where I show you how I monetize my YouTube channel, how I plan to grow, what's been working for me. Y'all, we're almost tripled our income off of YouTube based off of what we did last month. So what I'm doing is working. I'm just here to share it with you all. But when I hear people say this, oh yeah, well, this is a glitch. It's a glitch. What? No, I'm going to tell you what the real glitch is. Come closer. Let me tell you. Let me whisper it to you. Okay? You're using old habits for a system that was designed 5 years ago. Technology, this thing right here, it made time move a lot faster. Yes, a year is still a year, but this thing, we communicate differently. People, this is like a personal ATM machine, but people use it to be distracted and contact and text and go on social media. I use it to make money. Like, bro, you're the glitch. It's like, no, the system is working for me. You're the glitch, bro.
Every morning I wake up like, did I choose this? Was there an options menu I missed? Because if there was a button for free housing or unlimited sleep, I definitely didn't see it. Okay, I'm basically clocking in every day to avoid dying from basic expenses. Okay.
You can definitely get free housing and unlimited sleep. It's called being homeless and living in the shelter. And that's not to, joke on nobody who's ever been in them circumstances. It's just that I don't agree with the mindset towards like, well, I didn't ask to be here. Bro, none of us did, bro. I didn't ask to be 5'11". I didn't ask to be black. I didn't ask to be born in a middle-class family. Nobody asked, no matter if their situation was desirable when they didn't have a choice or undesirable. Nobody asked. That sounds like, to me, you're like you feel a certain sort of type of entitlement towards like, well, I should just be born without having struggles. If there was no struggle in the world, there wouldn't be strongness, there wouldn't be strength, and there wouldn't be weakness. But unfortunately, there is. And it's a weak mindset. This is a weak mindset. It's a victim mindset, victim Olympics. I got to come up with a sound effect when I hear a victim, and it's like, it sounds so good. It sounds so sweet to the ear. It's like, wow, I never thought about that. Wow. Victim Olympics. Wow. I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask to be in this situation. So what? Like, what are we getting to here, man? Because at the end of the day, you're going to stop making your videos, start complaining, and your belly going to grumble. You know what the Bible says about workers? It's good for them to have an appetite. Now, to me, that means most people who are workers, not all, most people who are workers need to feel some sort of discomfort or pain in order for them to want to work. But it also says in the Bible, right, that ants don't have a leader, but they always got that wisdom to store up food during the harvest, meaning when times are great, they're preparing for when it's going to become worse. And at the end of the day, I don't consider myself a worker. Okay. Even though I work a 9 to 5, after the 9 to 5, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur 24/7. It's just that when the 9 to 5 is over, I'm still working and you're playing. You're complaining. When the 9 to 5 is over, I'm producing. Nobody has to tell me to get up to work. I tell myself. And that allows me to have things that most people wouldn't have. And maybe it's not showing today, but eventually it will. And then people look at the people who have more than them and say, oh, well, we need to tax them more. No, you need to work more. That's what you need to do. You need your stomach to growl more because obviously you ain't hungry enough to go ahead and get your own. You got to be fed by somebody else, and you got the audacity to complain about what you can't control.
Like, imagine explaining that to a child. Yeah, buddy, mommy goes to work so that we don't die. And don't even get me started on taxes. Why am I paying someone to take money from money I never wanted to earn in the first place, but that I now need?
Now, I don't like taxes either. But I said what I said earlier.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this humbly in hopes that I inspire someone on this Tuesday morning. My biggest flex in life right now is that, baby, I work a corporate job, but I live in a $900 apartment in the city. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this humbly.
That's what's up. I didn't know it was that short, but this is what I love right here. $900 a month. It's not 4 digits. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if she's living with a roommate or what. Living below your means saves you a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of money that you can put towards something that's going to earn you money in the long term as well, and overtime as well. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. I'm out. I'll see you in the next one.